Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Thursday mini episodes where we talk about real estate in bite-sized pieces. But before we get into this episode today, I just wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners and to everyone who gave us feedback and constructive criticism. We really, really appreciate it. We got a lot of feedback. We got a lot of great feedback, and we also got a lot of constructive feedback around the sound quality.
Yes.
Our podcast. We definitely had some hiccups in that, and so if you listen back on the first few episodes, the sound is not great. I think we figured it out, so it should be good now. Fingers crossed. It should be good now. Let us know what you think. If it sounds better from here on out, we'll keep doing it this way. If not, let us know, and we'll continue to work on that and fix it.
Yes, continue talking to us, and we are so excited for everybody who's listening.
Yes, and we're so thankful to have everyone here, so thank you so much for reaching out to us and letting us know what you think. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about what does pending mean?
So everybody has seen this when they're house shopping on their favorite app. Oh, this house is so cute, and you're looking at it for days and imagining your furniture in it when you're not even ready to buy it. And then all of a sudden it says pending.
What does that mean? My friends ask me this question all the time. Like, I see a listing and then it says pending. What does that mean?
It means it's gone forever.
Never again.
Nope.
It's gone.
No. Pending means that the seller has accepted an offer from a buyer and they are starting the process to be able to close on the house. That is a longer process than anticipated. It is not like a 2 or 3 day thing. It takes at least 30 days to get a house closed. So it's going to say pending for a good 30 days.
Right. It's not like if you just go to Target, walk in, buy a TV, check it out, and then leave and it's yours.
Yeah.
It takes a lot longer to buy a house than it does to buy a TV.
Yes, definitely. Although maybe some people do the same amount of research for buying a house as they do a TV.
I know there's a lot of people that do heavily research their TVs.
Yes.
So another word for pending, if you hear it, is under contract. That's usually what I say. So if I ever say the house is under contract, it means pending.
Yes, that means a contract has been written and accepted by both parties.
Yes.
So pending, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just the waiting period of an offer being accepted to it being closed. But what happens when you see that it's been pending, but you still love it so much that you're still looking at it on your app, and then it's active again? What's happened?
That means that the buyer usually decided to walk away. So they can walk away for any number of reasons. Maybe they had the inspection, didn't go well, they decided to back out because of that. Maybe they couldn't get their financing, they couldn't afford the house anymore. Maybe they had a job transfer where they were trying to buy a house in Washington, but now they have to be in Arizona, so it doesn't make sense to buy a house in Washington anymore. They had to walk away. There are any number of reasons that a house could go pending and back to active. I think the stigma, though, is that if a house goes pending and then back to active, that the house is going to fall apart and horrible, and the inspection went badly, and the roof is shot, and the floor is bad, and the windows are broken, and the house is going to fall down. I think that's what a lot of people think when a house goes back to pending or back to active. So there's definitely that stigma around houses that do that.
I think there's even that stigma with agents. We're like, oh, that house went pending and now it's active again. What's wrong with it?
Right. I mean, even me, like, as soon as I see, because we, on our MLS multiple listing service, we can see houses that went back to active, and immediately I'm like, all right, what's wrong with that house?
Exactly.
But you need to do a little bit more digging. If you are interested in a house that goes back to active, make sure you talk to your agent and ask them to find out why. What was the reason? Because it could be something that, is totally fine.
Yeah, and sometimes, like Megan said, people lose their financing, their situation's changed, they just found out they're going to have a baby and they don't want a 2-bedroom house anymore. There could be any number of reasons that a buyer walks away. But I do think the most common one is something happened in the inspection that scared the buyers.
That's normally what I see too.
And
it's because of the inspection.
Doesn't necessarily mean that house is going to fall apart, but it could be something that was too in-depth for that particular buyer.
Right. So it just depends on you as the buyer, how much of a project you're willing to take on, if it is a project house.
Or the expense of it, if the sellers aren't willing to pay for fixes before closing.
Yeah.
But don't let that scare you away from looking at a house.
Right. Actually, if you are kind of a project person, it's actually kind of a good opportunity to buy a house that has been pending, because then you'll know walking into it, even before you have your inspection, kind of what problems to expect. Yeah. And then your inspection will most likely just reiterate those problems that the first inspector found.
And I think maybe not in the current market, like right today, but when the market's just a tiny bit cooler, it gives you potential to have not be going up against multiple offers if a house has come back pending. But with the little bit of inventory we have, I think even a house that has gone back active after pending is still going to have multiple offers on it.
Right. So if you want an idea of how little inventory we have, if you remember back a couple months ago when you were trying to buy toilet paper
and there was
none, that is what the housing market is right now. There's no houses.
Yeah. There's no houses.
Yeah. So once a house goes pending, and they have a buyer and a seller under contract, another buyer cannot come in and swoop in and steal that house.
Right.
There's a contract between buyer number one and seller. And so unless the buyer number one walks away, buyer number one gets that house.
Yep.
Buyer number two can't come in with a higher offer and the seller be like, oh, I like that one better, we're going to choose them. The buyer number one has to walk away, or the contract has to fall apart in some reason, to be able to let buyer number two have that house.
Right.
As a second buyer, though, if you do really love that house and you want to come in with a higher offer, you can submit a backup offer. So if buyer number one does happen to walk away, then you can swoop in as buyer number two and automatically get that house if you have a backup offer accepted.
So that means you wouldn't have to keep watching the house and hoping that it goes back active. You are just the automatic next person in line. Your offer has already been accepted. If the first offer, it falls apart.
Right.
It just automatically falls right to you, which can be really handy in this market to be a second offer.
And I've had that happen before. My cousin actually bought a house where we were the second best offer, and we were so close, but we didn't quite get it that first time, and then the buyer decided to walk away, and we had a backup offer, and they went with us. So
sweet.
Sometimes it pays to have a backup offer.
Yeah.
All right. So what is the pending process? What does it look like when a house goes pending?
So the listing agent is going to mark the house as pending as soon as the sellers have accepted the offer from a buyer. And we've talked about it so many times. That first step, earnest money, it's got to get into escrow. That is like, I feel like I'm harping on it, but it's like the first big thing that happens in a transaction.
Episode 4, if you want to learn more about earnest money.
Yes. And then a buyer has, depending on what they've negotiated in their contract, but typically up to 10 days to get their inspector in and have their inspection done, and then send in their inspection requests to the seller. Then the seller has until 3 to 5 days before closing to get all of those projects fixed. And after the inspection, it's pretty much hurry up and wait.
On the real estate agent end, it's pretty much hurry up and wait. On the lender end, that's when all of most of their work is being done.
Yeah.
They're going through your finances. They're getting your loan ready. They're doing all this thing. They're ordering the appraisal to make sure that the house is worth what you're paying for.
Yeah. Paperwork is going over to title and escrow to get all of that ready to go, so the house will be in the buyer's name. Really, after inspection, it's all working with your lender, making sure your paperwork's in, getting whatever they're asking for additionally. And then, even then, most of the work is on the buyer and title and escrow, or not the buyer, the lender and title and escrow. Everybody else just gets to hang out for 2 weeks.
As the real estate agent, after the inspection is all done and agreed on, and that's when I feel I can finally like, breathe.
Big sigh of relief.
Like there's so much work building up to it, and then the inspection's done, and then you have a little bit of relaxation, and then the appraisal comes in, and the appraisal's good, and then you're like, all right, we just gotta get to closing, and then we'll be good.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a 2-week period where like, okay, I can just hang out for like relax for 2 weeks, and then I gotta gear up and make sure all the next steps are gonna be good. But a big chunk of that pending time is the back end stuff that buyers and sellers aren't ever going to deal with. It's your lender's working on things, paperwork going from the lender to title and escrow, going back from title and escrow to the lender, back and forth way too many times. And then finally closing day.
Yeah.
And that's when sellers get their money, buyers get the keys.
That's when the listing goes from pending to sold.
Yes. That's everybody's favorite day.
Yes. It's a good day.
So if you see a house that's pending that you love, don't give up completely. There's always that little chance that it could come back. But pending means that it's under contract and somebody has picked that house to buy it.
Mm-hmm. All right. If you have any other real estate words that you would like us to define for you, let us know. Reach out to us, meganharn.com, amberbowles.com, or on Instagram at amberlbowles Realty or Megan Harn Real Estate. If you are looking for an amazing agent, obviously we would be more than happy to help you.
Absolutely.
If you're not in the Puget Sound area, reach out to us. We'll connect you with an agent in whatever city you're in.
Yeah, we have a huge referral network between ourselves and our company, and we can help you find an agent wherever you are, a good agent wherever you are.
A good agent. A couple good agents. You can interview them because you should always interview more than one agent.
Unless it's us, then you just pick us.
Right. If it's us, just sold.
You already know. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you Monday.
All right, see you then.